What you guys are about to see is a desk that is covered in puzzles and all came from the same place, thecubicle.com. I spent over $100 to get all 15 of these puzzles that you see here. Some of them are easy, some of them are tough, and I can definitely say for sure I'm very happy with this purchase. This was definitely a long video to make, but I do enjoy this nonetheless. So without any further ado, my name is Phoenix, and we have a massive unboxing from thecubicle.com.
Yes, I'm aware that this package kind of takes up the entire frame. I literally cannot zoom my camera out. I'm recording on like an iPhone, so I can't zoom this camera out anymore. And I mean, you just had to watch the intro, so I'm just gonna stop stalling so I can actually get this out of the frame. I'm gonna go ahead and crack this puppy open, and then I'm gonna take some stuff out and then kind of list off what. So it's gonna bring that to the front, or to the side actually, and let's see what we all got in here. Got a little bit of kind of extra packaging. I'm gonna set that off to the side. I'll have it go away later. This one looks to be the Yushin Magic Eye 2x2. This one's pretty cool. I'm excited to get into this one. We have a gear cube in here. This is the Crazy Gear Cube. Let's keep going. Here we've got some logos. These are Z3 Cubing logos. Wow, I got 3 of them this time. That's a lot. We have a gear puzzle in here. This is a keychain that we've got. I'm very excited to get into this one. I actually don't have any keychains in my collection, so this will be cool. So there was an event going on at the Cubicle where for every $50 you spent, you got to claim a free speed cube. This is one of the ones that I have claimed, the Chi Ming Pyraminx. I still don't have Chi's entire like budget lineup. Not the MS, I don't have any of the MS puzzles, but I don't have this one. And I also only have like one regular Pyraminx, but that was like an old Netflix. So I'm excited to get into this one, but this one I'll be getting into in a separate video. I will not be talking about this one just yet. Ooh, this one's a fun one. So I'm very excited to get into these. We have a sliding puzzle. This is the Calvin's 3-layer sliding puzzle, and I've got a couple more in the box. We also have a 5-layer, and then I see the 7-layer in there right down here at the bottom. I'll get into these kind of like back to back since they're all very similar. I'm excited to get into this. This is a Chi puzzle. We've got the Clover Pyraminx. This one has been a really cool one. I've just seen many people unbox, and I just kind of wanted to have one for my collection, so that one is exciting. Yeah, when I was kind of like coming home, I felt something rolling around in the box. That was this, the Rainbow Ball from ShengShou. The box is kind of beat up, as I can see. I've got a mess going on in my bed behind me. What is this? Oh. So it says thecubicle.com. It has all their like social media pages, and then I just see this really cool like, I'm not sure entirely what this is. This cool pattern. Not sure what this means, but I'll kind of keep it with me. And then let's see. I see that we have a few like maroon boxes, and this one right here is actually just a regular Scube. This is the Meilong Scube, I believe. This is the other puzzle that I had claimed. This, like, there are 17 puzzles in this box, and they're all together worth over $100. So I'm glad I got to claim this one. I actually don't have any like competition legal Scubes in my collection. The closest I have is like a regular one, but it has like carbon fiber stickers on it, so I can't use that in competition, I don't think. All right, next thing in the box, we have a gear cube. This is the last gear cube in the box. We have the gear sandwich cube. This one's gonna be really funny, honestly. I've actually never seen anything like it. I think this might be a first for gear cubes. Yeah, I can definitely confirm they're using like the new boxes for all their like older puzzles. This is a Dino Cube. I've never had a Dino Cube in my collection, and I'm very excited to finally have one. This one will probably be the first one that I get into in this entire unboxing. I'm gonna do my best to kind of condense this as much as possible, but this is still gonna be quite a long video. We have a Leifun puzzle, the 3x3, or the deformed 3x3 Centrosphere. I've seen this literally unboxed once, so I don't know too much about this puzzle, but I'm excited to finally have it. That one I've kind of been like on and off about. And we got a few more things in here. We have the YJ Star Barrel. This one I'm super excited for. Like no joke, this is one that always has looked pretty cool. I've seen, once again, only one person unbox it, that was Z3 Cubing. And this one I've always been excited to get, kind of afterwards, so I'm very excited to see that. And then the last few things we have in this box all go together. We have these 3 boxes, and then inside the rest of the box we have the business card and the receipt, so I'm just going to set this on the floor. The last 3 puzzles we had in this box were all of the skewed mix-ups that I'm very excited to get into. Doesn't look too good. I'm very excited to get into these. These are going to be like the last ones that I get into. I've got a bunch of reasons why I wanted to open these up. So that is everything in the box, so I'm just going to kind of go over everything one by one. Though the skewed and the pure mix that I got, I'm going to talk about in a separate video. Let's get this show on the road. So the first puzzle that we've got in this unboxing I wanted to look at is this, the Dino Cube. The Dino Cube has always been kind of... But anyway, the Dino Cube is basically... This is instruction manual, not coming out. The Dino Cube is basically like the most basic corner turning puzzle that you can ever get. It's kind of like a classic corner turning puzzle, and it's basically what the sort of like the Ready Cube was based off of. And the major difference between here is that the Ready Cube has like visible corners. So as you can see, when I do a turn, like it takes the corner with it. But I don't know where to put this. Just kind of checking out turning on the Dino Cube. The Dino Cube has no visible corners. I hear a little bit of spring noise, but overall it seems to turn pretty smoothly. Feels a little bit sandy. Yeah, I can definitely feel a little bit of sandiness, but that feels really nice. I'm very happy to finally have a Dino Cube in my collection, and you can kind of see like the internal. I'm sorry if I'm yelling. You can kind of see the internal. You can kind of see these internal corners. I felt a little bit of lube on the inside, surprisingly. I didn't realize it was going to be a little bit lubey, but yeah, that's pretty cool. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to go ahead and scramble up all of these puzzles, and I'm going to come back in a separate video and solve them all. So this one should be relatively simple to solve. I think this might rival the Ivy Cube in terms of like its, I guess, lack of difficulty, because this one is very intuitive, very simplistic. I guess I'll call that sufficient enough. And then at the end of this video, I'll go ahead and like bring them all together so you can see them in all their glory. I want to kind of get into these gear cubes real quick. Just because I've got 3 of them, I'm going to go ahead and open them all back to back. So the first gear cube that we've got in here is the keychain. So let's just get into this, take this tray, slide it out, and then it doesn't look like there's any sort of instructions included. That's everything in the box. And then, oh wait, there's a lid. Oops. So we got a couple things in here. So we've got the cube itself, and then I took a quick look at this on the site. This is apparently Chi's mascot. I'm not sure entirely how to pronounce their name though. So, I mean, I'm not 100% sure. This puzzle is 100% going on my keys, so I'm gonna leave this guy in frame. So, a keychain is a puzzle that I've actually never really had before, and this is like basically a scaled down version of a regular gear cube. As you can see, this is the same gear cube that I got in my last unboxing video. Is basically just a standard gear cube made by Chi, and this is basically just a scaled down variant of that. So, turning seems a little bit rough. That keychain is 100% getting in the way though. But yeah, I guess for what this is, this does seem to perform very well. I mean, gear cubes don't generally have the best of turning, especially if they're not made by Chi, but this one actually looks really nice. And like I said, I'm gonna put this on my keychains, or on my keys. I don't have any keychain puzzles in my collection, and yeah, it's kind of rare to find a gear cube keychain. I've literally only seen one gear cube keychain, and that was like a blue egg. I saw that on JR Cuber's channel, that on a video they posted a couple years ago. Yeah, let's go ahead and scramble this one up. Yeah, we're already like 10.5 minutes into the recording. I hope this one doesn't take forever. Like I said, Like I said, I'm gonna do my best to condense this as much as possible, but it might still be a long video. I've got 15 of these to go through, so I will 100% understand that. So, moving right along to the next gear cube that we've got, we have the Gear Sandwich Cube. Now, this is actually a sticker mod of a regular gear cube, so that, well, basically, if I satisfyingly slide it out, you basically see each layer is a different shape. Typically, you would see this on a regular 3x3, where this entire top layer is blue, this entire middle layer is yellow, and this entire bottom layer is red. This is done like on a normal 3x3, and it kind of gets rid of the OLL and the PLL steps. So it basically makes it a very easy puzzle to solve. So you only really need to learn how to do the first 2 layers, and then you'd automatically solve the second 2 layers, or the last layer. Basically, this seems to be the exact same way, except it's obviously going to be very easy to solve, given the fact that, like, gear cubes are already very easy to solve. I'd say the only real concern that you would have on a regular gear cube, first things first, this middle layer is always going to be solved. This is not something that can happen on a regular 3x3. I didn't even think about this until now. This middle layer is never going to be unsolved. And then everything else is just going to be very simple. You will still have to do the edge swap algorithm, so like the full solve of the gear cube is a thing. But, give me just a second. But because of the way the edges work, you wouldn't get this sort of like weird edge case where 8 of the edges are flipped. The only real thing that you need to worry about in orientation is just rotating the edges so that they kind of spin back into place. You'll never have to do this algorithm right here just to flip those 8 edges back. So that's going to make this very easy to solve. This one's definitely pretty cool. I'm excited to have this one. And then the final gear cube that we've got in here is this one right here, the Crazy Gear Cube. I've seen this unboxed once, and this one came out pretty recently, but I wanted to sort of go ahead and get it. It does come with an instruction booklet, which is good because I might need this. But essentially, this gear cube is basically these 2 puzzles together. This is a regular gear cube, and then this is an axis cube, and that's basically what this one has become. So it doesn't turn like a regular gear cube. Well, it kind of does, but you have to turn it a little bit differently. Wow, that does feel pretty nice. I'd say that is maybe a little bit more stiff, not smooth, but it does feel pretty nice. It feels actually kind of soft. But the real difficulty factor here is that you might end up with a case where the centers are rotated, which is never something I've had to deal with in a regular gear cube before. So this one might be kind of tricky to me. I'm not sure exactly how I would go about solving the centers, because I've never had to use that knowledge with literally any other puzzles. I might be able to figure that out. Oh my gosh, this is hard to scramble. But we'll have to see. It does come with an instruction booklet, so if I get stuck, I can probably just look at that. So, oh my gosh, this feels really weird to turn. It feels like there's just so many things just poking out. That looks absolutely ridiculous. But hey, they called it the Crazy Gear Cube. They don't lie. Next one that we've got here is a 3x3 shape mod. This one is the 3x3 deformed 3x3 Centrosphere, and honestly, this one looks very different. I did not expect it to look like this. So it's got kind of like this sculpted design. Like first impressions, you can definitely see that. If I hold that close up to the camera, wow. I did not expect it to look like that. It's also a little bit smaller than I thought it was going to be. Let me compare it to like a normal 3x3 real quick. Actually, shockingly enough, it's actually bigger than a regular 3x3. I did not expect that. This looks really small for some reason. Maybe it's just because the 3x3 pieces are inside the 2x2. Yeah, I've been having a little bit of issues with this DJI gimbal. I'm using what I've got. But anyway, finally you can get into turns after that. Yeah. Like the Dino Cube, it feels kind of sandy. This also feels a little bit dry. Basically what this is essentially a 3x3 that has been kind of inside the corners of a 2x2. So, as you can see, these are like 2x2 corners, but there's also the inner cross of a 3x3 inside of it. So, like if I turn up both layers, you can see these edges. And another sort of thing is that there's another version of this made by Fangshi that I did see unboxed. That one kind of shapeshifts. This one does not look like it shapeshifts. At least right now. No, it doesn't look like it shapeshifts. The Fangshi one did, yeah. I kind of was getting this one confused with the Fangshi one for a little while, but this one's definitely pretty cool. I'm excited to have this one in my collection because this is basically just a normal 3x3 shape mod that solves exactly the same way as a regular 3x3, so let's go ahead and mix it up. And while we're at it, that puzzle that I just slid right into the frame is basically like the 5x5 variant of this. This is the ball in a cube made by Tony Fisher. This is essentially a 5x5 inside the outer skeleton of a 4x4. I think Tingman did a better job explaining than I did. But basically this is like the 3x3 version of it, so it should solve exactly the same way as a normal 3x3, though muscle memory might be a big contender for like how you would go about solving it, because you might try to do like middle slice turns and end up like getting caught in like the corner, so this will be interesting.
5 down, 10 to go.
Next puzzle that we've got in here is going to be this one. We have a ShengShou Rainbow Ball. Once again, I have seen this, oh my gosh, this package is like really damaged. I've seen this unboxed a couple of times. I've seen TC Cubes unbox one made by YJ that has since been discontinued. And I've also seen Tingman unbox one from Fonson, though he got that on a completely different store than I did. So, right off the bat, first impressions, I didn't expect this to have like a typical Megaminx color scheme, though it does have this black circle, which is kind of like this empty spot. And you can see there's kind of like a foam ball in there, propping up these other balls, and the way you would solve this is by, oh my gosh, is by kind of pushing these color balls around. And the solve state would be to match them with their corresponding hole. So there's only 11 moving parts to this, so it shouldn't be too hard to solve. It's a little bit smaller than I thought it was going to be. I thought this would be bigger. That might make it a little bit easier to use if it was bigger, so. And basically, the reason why, oh my gosh, there's so many clicks. There's always going to be one empty spot, and that's just so that you can move these around. Because if there was no empty spot, you wouldn't be able to use this at all. So, I'd say I'd call that sufficient enough. I've never really had any kind of puzzle like this in my collection, so I'm very excited to try and solve this. This shouldn't be too terrible of a solve. I think I should be able to solve this fairly easily. I gotta get just one more, and then I don't want that black space open. While we're on the topic of puzzles that I did not have, I'm gonna go ahead and unbox all 3 of these sliding puzzles that I've got. So essentially, I believe these were made by Calvin's Puzzle. I'm not sure if they were Calvin's Puzzle. It does say RY Toys right there, so it might be a completely different brand. It may be just kind of sold as Calvin's on the Cubicle. Not sure why. But essentially, I've never had a sliding puzzle before, and it's kind of like this sort of cylindrical puzzle. I'm just gonna go ahead and take these all out of the box. Ooh, look at this. We've got more solutions on the back. They've got a lightning solution, so you can make different patterns on this. That's pretty cool. A starburst, a bracket, a word solution. But I think this classic solution, I think I might just go ahead and use. So, and then there's actually the puzzle itself. Take it out of its packaging. And then let me take a second to get the other 2 out. So now that we finally have all the puzzles out of their packaging, now that we can look at, oh yeah, and if you take a look at that, you can see I use books to kind of prop this up because the box is still too high, and you can see how well that worked. So much like the rainbow ball, there's an empty space right here, and that basically allows you to slide these tiles around, and then you can be able to like turn the puzzle. And once again, if that empty space was not there, you would not be able to use you would not be able to move the tiles around at all. I have actually no idea how I'm gonna go about scrambling this. Maybe I'll just do whatever, but I don't know. I've never used these sliding puzzles before, so I don't know how I'm supposed to use these sliding puzzles. But we'll have to see. But basically, yeah, I'm just gonna keep going until I call this sufficiently scrambled. And while I do, oh my gosh, this like will turn. Once again, I've seen Tingman kind of unbox this. I'm saying once again way too much. But he got them from like Z-Cube. I'll just call that scrambled. Like, this is really aggravating. Well, not aggravating, but it's like time consuming. But basically, He had a 3-layer, a 4-layer, and a 5-layer, and I've got a 3-layer, a 5-layer, and a 7-layer. So I do not have a 4-layered one. But regardless, I still have this, and it's just kind of a brand new experience for me. I don't have anything like this in my collection. I'm not sure entirely how these are going to solve. Like, I'm not really sure how to use this, but maybe I'll come up with a solution eventually. I think I need to move that. So yeah, I guess I'll just maybe come and try again later. And then the 7-layered one, this is going to take a while. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and like call that scrambled for now. I'm gonna dust on this desk. Yeah, these are taking me a little while. I'm not sure how to use them, but maybe once I kind of run through these again. Like I said, I will be doing a solve of all of these like individual puzzles in my next video that I'm gonna do after this. This one. This is the Magic Eye 2x2. This is the first thing that we saw. Oh wait, my tape. But basically, this is like a 2x2 mod. In fact, it is a 2x2 mod from Yushin. I don't have anywhere near enough Yushin puzzles. All I have is like the 8 petals cube, as you would have seen. And yeah, I'm kind of like due, because I know Yushin is like a flagship for like making these sorts of things. And whoa, this entire bag comes out. But basically, this is a 2x2 shape mod where it's kind of hard to explain if you don't just look at it. It's kind of easier to know what it is if you just look at it. But it's like, this is the closest 2x2 I had. This is a carbon fiber one. But it's basically as if you were to like flip the edge inside out, kind of. Or if you kind of like hold it like, well, you kind of get what I'm saying. But basically, this is kind of like being held the same way. But yeah, I mean, it's really difficult to actually like explain this. And I'd say this is both bigger and smaller than I was expecting. I thought it would be a little bit bigger, but then again, it is also bigger than a regular 2x2. Let's just check out the turn here. Ooh. Okay, now we go. We got it going. It actually feels pretty nice. It feels a little bit bumpy, but it also feels like it kind of snaps in. Well, not really, but it feels like, yeah, it's kind of like difficult to make a regular turn, and then you want to kind of change directions. But yeah, and again, I apologize if I'm yelling. We're already coming up to like 30 minutes, like we're almost there, and I still have a few puzzles left to go, so yeah. Overall, this is really cool. I like the way this looks, and I'm thinking like muscle memory might be a problem on this, because if you want to try finger tricks are not going to work on this at all. Yeah, these are going to be like really difficult to do, so I'm not sure if Ortiga is going to be a good method for this. The next up, we've got the Chi Clover Pyraminx. This one I've seen many people unbox. I've seen like Jeracuber, Tingman, Z3 Cubing. They've all unboxed one of these from various different sources, and now I finally get to have one of these in my collection. So the Clover Pyraminx is going to be, well, it kind of has a little bit of a story to tell. It's a little bit dusty too. Essentially, a Clover Pyraminx is what happens when you change the pieces of a Master Morphix. A Master Morphix is essentially an edge-turning tetrahedron, which is actually a 3x3 in principle. So as you can see, it can turn on the edges, it can make 90-degree rotations, and then you can turn it again. It's not really jumbling, it's just the way a 3x3 works. But the Clover Pyraminx is kind of the same thing, except for one minor difference, that being that these inner corners have been completely covered. So basically what that means is that it's probably going to make it maybe a little easier to solve. I think possibly if on the black version, and yes, it can sort of shapeshift and jumble just like a Master Morphix, but in principle it just ended up being like a 3x3 shape mod, whether it was intentional or not, though this looks absolutely nothing like a 3x3. This looks ridiculous. But I shouldn't have too much trouble solving it. I think recognition is probably going to be a problem. But we'll have to see. I can't really say anything about the solve until I've tried the solve, and I'm going to try the solve pretty soon. So yeah, this looks crazy. Like, you would not be able to know exactly what this is if you don't know if you don't know what this is, you won't know what this is unless someone tells you. Here, before we move on to the Skewb mix-ups, and I have a lot of things to say about those, is the YJ Star Barrel. Oh my gosh, am I ever excited to get into this. Does come with an instruction booklet, perfect. So, oh my gosh, it's stuck in the box. So the YJ Star Barrel is, number one, the only YJ puzzle in this unboxing. I'm gonna keep these booklets off to the side. But, ooh, feels kind of like the opposite of sculpted. I like this texture on the design. So if I zoom in a little bit, you can kind of see like the borders are a little bit recessed in there. I'm not sure how to describe that. But basically, this is like a 3x3 shape mod, except it's not a 3x3. It's basically, it's got a top layer and a bottom layer, but it also has 5 axes of rotation along the sides of the puzzle. And wow, just checking out the turning real quick. I love this sandy feel. I just actually really like it. And then these top and bottom faces. Yeah, that's really cool. So I'm not entirely sure how I would go about solving this. I saw Z3 Cubing unbox this, and I'm like, okay, I'm not sure if I would know how to solve this. And I did see, does come with an instruction booklet, so I'm like, you know what? I want to give it a try now. And I've been wanting this one for about the same time as the Dino Cube and Nickel Repair Mix, which is literally since last summer. I've been wanting this. It's been a long time since then, and I finally have one, so I'm gonna go ahead and mix it up. I'm guessing if I weren't to look at the instruction booklet, oh my gosh, that's not a good idea. If I weren't to look at the instruction booklet, I would think this is kind of like a cuboid solve, maybe? I might approach it like that, and it might even be that way in the instructions, but we'll have to see. There's probably gonna be a point where I might get stuck, and I gotta kind of remember the color scheme a little bit. So I'm thinking like it went like I think maybe like this middle layer was probably like the color scheme. I don't know. I'm probably gonna have to look at this again just to kind of figure it out. But I'm not sure. Like, I know the order of colors was like this, but I can't remember if these were flipped or not. But regardless, this is a really cool puzzle. I'm super happy to finally have this in my collection. Yeah. And I know that pattern on top. I know a lot of people who knows kind of what this is. I kind of don't want to. I don't need people talking about it in the comments section. I'm kind of like way out of the center here. Ever since last winter, when I saw Z3 Cubing unbox these Skewb mix-ups are basically, oh my gosh, this is hard to open, are basically like a hybrid puzzle, sort of. And as it turns out, I actually really do enjoy hybrid puzzle solves because it just gives me an opportunity to kind of figure it out as I go along. So we're going to talk it one at a time real quick. Set those off to the side right there. And then just kind of talk about this first one. So what we've got here is a Skewb Mix-Up 1. This is the 1 variant. So just going to check out turning. It feels a little sandy, and then kind of first impressions, I like the stickerless shades. I think the blue is a little bit darker than normal, but that is totally fine. And then it feels a little bit sandy. Unlike a normal Skewb, there are no ball bearings, and there's also like no like big open holes right there. So I mean, forward corner cutting is fine, but reverse isn't going to do much just because of how blocky the pieces are. But there's a reason for that, and that's fine. So with the Skewb mix-up, you can of course scramble it like a normal Skewb, and if you do that, it does solve like exactly like a regular Skewb. But if you make a half turn, you can kind of turn these orange slice looking things. These are definitely not orange slices. I guess you call them wedges. I'm gonna call them orange slices. And you can basically switch them around just like that. So I'm gonna hold off on scrambling this one for just a bit. I have a couple other things I kind of want to talk about first. So next up, we have the Mix-Up 2, and it feels exactly the same. This one feels actually a little bit heavier as I'm turning it. Like, it feels like a much heavier feeling puzzle. Wow. And once again, no ball bearings and just kind of same sort of texture, except the only difference here is that these edges are now split into 2 pieces. So you can either make a full 180-degree rotation just like that, or you can make a 90-degree rotation and take it one step further by splitting these edges up. Yeah, these are gonna get a little crazy. And once again, I'm gonna wait to scramble this one a little bit. I will still scramble it in this video, but I would like to show you something a little bit first. And then Moyu kind of threw another wrench into the works by making these mix-up 3. Oh, shoot, and already a piece came out. Alright, that was fine. That's okay, though. So, this feels definitely a lot heavier and a lot bumpier, like a little bit harder to turn in the mix-up 1 and 2. I think it might just take a little bit of breaking in. And then the actual wedge pieces are now split up into 3 pieces. So you can make a 60-degree turn, or a 120-degree turn, or a 180-degree turn, which is just insane looking. And like when we start splitting these up and get 3 colors associated in one wedge, like it just gets ridiculous. And essentially, the main reason why I'm super excited to have these is this now completes my collection of Scube mods from Moyu. And give me a second to show you the rest of the collection. Essentially, there's 8 puzzles here that are all Scube mods, and these are kind of like a little bit bigger than a regular Scube. But we have the Fisher Scube, which is a fissured version of a regular Scube, which is also very exciting. I really do enjoy this puzzle. This is one of my favorites. We have the Container Puzzle, which is essentially a harder variant to the Fisher Cube. And the reason why is because these are now only one color instead of sharing a color with the top face. We have the Double Scube, which can turn like a regular Scube and turns just fine. But as you can see, if you turn this corner, the centers inside stay behind, whereas if you turn any other corners, they're taken with the rest of the puzzle. So that makes it a little bit more complicated to solve. And we have 2 Scube hybrid puzzles. The Polaris Cube, which is essentially a puzzle where basically when you misalign all of the corners, as you can see, you can then turn it through the middle just like a regular Scube. It looks really difficult, but it's a little bit easier than it looks. And then the last one that we've got here is the Maple Leaves Cube. It came out about the same time as this one, and it turns just like a regular Scube, but it's very similar to the Scube mix-ups in which you can turn these wedge pieces, but the difference between them is that these wedge pieces do not overlap, and they're only just one piece. But these do overlap, so you have these sort of pedal pieces as well. So you're gonna have to solve that. So that adds an entirely new step to the puzzle. And essentially, in terms of the Scube mix-up 1, there's very high potential for this to be easier to solve than the Polaris Cube. The Polaris Cube I would consider to be my 3rd easiest hybrid, right after my coin puzzles, which are very trivial. So this one might be a little bit easier to solve than this, because with both you do need to know how to solve a regular Scube, but with this, you also have to know how to solve a Mosaic Cube. With this one, you can just intuitively switch 2 pieces around. And both of them are very easy. However, as for the Maple Leaves Cube, which is one of my 3 hardest hybrid puzzles, the other 2 being the Butterfly Cube and the Petal Pyramids. The mix-up 2 and 3 could possibly be even harder than the Maple Leaves Cube. And really, I don't know exactly how I would go about solving these, but this looks like it's going to be quite a challenge. So I'm very excited to get into them, and I'm going to just go ahead and clear all this away and then scramble all of these up. I will come back once all of these are scrambled. And yeah, I'd say that's kind of sufficient-ish enough for the 3. That's all of them scrambled. I'm going to go ahead and bring back all of the puzzles and move the camera real quick. So yeah, basically, these are all of the puzzles that I've gotten in this unboxing, and overall, I'm super happy with all of them. I really like just the way they perform. I think it's just great, and despite the minor pop that I had here, that's no big deal. I'm super excited to get into solving all of these, but I am not done recording just yet. I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off right now, and just kind of set all these off to the side. Then I'm gonna come right back, turn it on, and then record my first impressions of the next couple of puzzles that I've got. So I'm gonna go ahead and head to a standard outro right now. I will see you in my next video. Jeez, how hard it does need to be to get into this. I kind of find this a little satisfying, like, just the way the box, like, easily opens. Like, there's no rips in it at all. And the puzzle just very easily, like, slides right out of the box. I don't know, for some reason I always found that pretty satisfying. A couple years ago and still find it satisfying to open. Oh no, I'm ripping the... Oh shoot, there's tape.